Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. Behind me are the signs that we used for this year's plant sale. Now, some of you are going to look at them and are like, hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts, why in the world didn't you just go out and get something professionally made? Why do you have old-timey hand-painted signs? Well, there's a reason for that. So, like I've told everybody over and over and over and over and over again, I have been in sales and nursery and greenhouse marketing my entire life. I sold my first stuff when I was about 6 years old. And I've learned a lot about people and how they look at things and other marketing items. So, how do you place material in your greenhouse? How do you set the flow? What signage do you put out? How do you do that kind of stuff? And there's one thing that I've learned that is a more recent turn of events. And that is the difficulty of getting people's attention when you want them to see something or notice something. And these hand-painted signs are one of my techniques to get people's attention. So when you look at this is obviously a hand-painted sign. I mean, look at that beautiful artwork in there. And we've got some nice wild colors, different styles, even different materials. And yeah, I could go out and have commercial signs printed for our greenhouse. No problem getting that done. I could have the A-frame foldies, I could go put them out, we could use them year after year. But the problem is that American society's attention span is very, very hard to get these days. Between text and digital media and digital reader boards and signs everywhere, it's hard to get someone to notice something of a sign that's printed or made the exact same way as all the other signs. People have in a way become blind to signs. You drive down the road and someone says, "Do you know how fast you were going, sir?" And you're like, "No, I don't." And it's like, "Well, there was a sign back there." And you're like, "I didn't see it." Same kind of idea. If there's too many of the same kind of sign, your brain is going to turn it off and not notice it. And that's where our hand-painted signs come in. They're different. I would say probably Gen X. So my generation, Gen X is probably one of the last generations that was accustomed to seeing hand-painted signs everywhere. They're just not common anymore. It's really cheap, and technology's come a long way to be able to go out and print a metal sign, have a vinyl banner done, make a feather flag. All of those are really easy to get now. But hand-painted signs aren't. They take effort, they take a little bit of artistic skill, and they take a bunch of time. And one of the things that I like about them is they gather people's attention because it's different. And your mind will recognize that as different, and it'll make you look at it. So these are all 4 of the signs that we had out. This one was at the fire hall. This one, I think this one was out at the roadside. That was at the roadside, and that was in the parking lot with an arrow up here showing you where to go. But all 4 of these were in different locations. You can see these, things have kind of fallen down. They've been out in the weather, but our last day we ran 8 to 5. And one of the awesome things about it is people talked to me when they came in and they purchased. I didn't ask them questions. People volunteered information to me. And a lot of it was often, "Hey, I saw your signs." So we had to come in and see what was going on. Yeah, they saw our signs because they were new, they were different, they were in a location that they hadn't seen them before, and they're hand painted, and it gathered their attention. And the other thing is this was a marketing lesson for my students. These are all student painted. I did not touch any of the paint here. And the awesome thing is as you look in here, we've got all sorts of colors. Right? So there's greens and pinks and reds and oranges. I didn't buy all of those paint colors. The students actually mixed them. So they went through their color wheels and they figured out what colors they wanted. And I just went out and got white, black, and what's that? Yellow, red, and blue. And they mixed all the rest of their colors. So they did some color matching and learning there. But the students got to design these and create a basket. And they had a few guidelines. We want it colorful. We want the letters large so that you can see them. And they also need to be, thick block letters are easier to see from a distance. So we wanted people to be able to read them as they were driving by. So they did get some guidelines there. But each of the signs had its own theme. The students got to decide that. You can tell two of the signs were painted by the same person because they have similar flowers on them, the hanging baskets. As far as this one and this one here was painted by the same student. But the other ones, they were painted kind of by teams of students. So they got to do that as their marketing thing. And then as the customers came in and they saw our signs, fully a third of my customers that came in had mentioned that they'd seen our signs. And they were drawn in. They were people that had been driving by that didn't know anything about any of our other media that we had out there. And we had a lot of media out there. We had it in print. It was in 3 different newspapers. It was on 7 different Facebook accounts. It was on school announcements. I mean, we really put it out there. So there was a lot of media out there, but fully a third of it actually came from our signs, which is really cool. The other thing that's nice about it is now that all the signs are done, we can reuse those and just change what's up top. And then again, if I want to change them next year, we already have the A-frames and we can have our students redo that. But that's one of the biggest challenges with marketing is being able to catch the attention of a modern individual, someone that's bombarded by media all day long. And the best way to do that is not go digital. It's go old school. It's go old-timey. I would almost liken it to, I don't know, it's nostalgia. It's someone that goes out there and they says, I can tell someone's putting a lot of work in there. It's artistic. It's nostalgia. They're obviously student painted, and that drew in a lot of customers for me. So that was probably one of our most successful media marketing things. That was just a one-time thing. There was a lot of digital and a lot of print media, but as far as the signs, that was kind of an old style of media that worked really, really well. So if you're an ag teacher out there and you've got a greenhouse program, try doing some hand-painted A-frame signs. You're going to be rather pleased with the results of them. And put them out there where people can see them, but don't put them out for too long. That's another thing. So they originally were out for a week before our first sale, and then our Saturday before Mother's Day, I waited until 3 days before Mother's Day to put those signs up. So those that had seen them and then they'd missed it, right? There was a couple days where the signs were not there and they thought, oh no, I missed the sale. And then the signs went up again and it brought them back in, knowing that that was going to be their last chance to get baskets for Mother's Day. So anyway, this is some marketing advice from Ag Teacher Thoughts. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you paint signs for your students for your greenhouse sale next year. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.